Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming to our first meeting of the month, July. Your Moss Point. Roll call.
Alderman Chapman.
Present.
Alderman Bradford.
Here.
Alderman Wilson.
Present.
Alderman DeBoe.
Present.
Alderman Devastro.
Present.
Alderman Chestang.
Here.
Alderman Lennon.
Here.
They have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Attorney. And gentlemen, we have in front of us our agenda. There is one amendment that we would like to add to the agenda. Main agenda item 516, reference to consultant service. Item 516 will add to the main agenda. On the presentation, we will remove the recognition of Project Gowins. He couldn't be here tonight, so we moved that to other meeting. And we're going to remove item 512 from this. Is there any item on the consent agenda that you would like to move down to the main agenda for further discussion?
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Have a motion of Alderman Chapman to the amended item.
Second.
By Alderman Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Alderman Bradford.
Good evening, everybody. Holidays is over with. Happy holidays anyway. I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine tonight to do our devotion. A.A. Jackson from Restoration Apostolic Church in Gulf State, Mississippi, is a good friend of mine. He's a war horse, so I feel for the Lord. Let's give him a hand, praise.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's a blessed and privilege and honor to be here for on the Lord Jesus Christ. I honor all these great leaders, Aldermen, Mayor, great people, everybody. All things that work hard. We should go. I'm kind of give the word today, but I feel like the Lord put in the spirit. I think that's here. That Jim should talk about was about people. That one, and then was, and they said that us. She just think we're going to accomplish things, we're going to take this thing, we're going to do it together. And so I'm saying, now, okay, that's it. Now, it's just like a body. We're going to all work together. But anyway, so we're going to work together as a community, as a church, as a city, and we're going to work together. They created a sheet that they put out somewhere until God they were going to bring it progress and things that it was us. We got together. Now, today, when I feel like the Lord kind of put in the spirit concerning the now, the Bible says that you're the only one. No, you're not. You're the only one of the one. Amen. Praise God. Now, which our body. So it went by said, in Christ, out of this many. It's amazing, man, when you come together, it's what you can attain, what you can achieve, accomplish. You know, the Bible says that, that's one thing, but it's many members. And I can look at this thing. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Now, I look at the Aldermen and the mayor, and we had citizens. Okay, what's the role? Because it's very important for us to know your role before, just like anybody who's role, it was, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what you call to do, what you're for. You know, my arms do, on my hands, do not try to kill. That's my eye. I mean, that's my ear. Responsibility. That's what they call to do. That's the thing. And that's us. That's what's your role? What's your role? You got to know. See, you're operating home. The best. Now, Now, I look at it, I say, what is our role as a community, as a, people don't, citizens? Well, we have a, now, the Aldermen are part of the body. They have a main role to play in part of the body. You understand what I'm saying? But each one of them got an individual, just like the eye does not have a ear. The ear, and so each different Alderman has a role to play. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when you are trying to do something out of the room, and it's on your face. It's kind of like my nose. You can't see. God put you there in the spirit. Now I can see. You got the eyes to see. That's already standing on your calling, with your mission, your assignment, where God got you go. I'm sure it's taking about 30 years later, but anyway, now I'm getting this down. I said, well, okay, they have a part to play. Each one of them has their role. This the arm, he may be the leg, he may be the cheek, he may be the arm, or the heels, or whatever, something like that. Now, and then the man, he get his orders, he get his call from what the brain, the head, in other words, he pretty much, they kind of say some things, and then now he carry out, because our mind, and you can carry out what the arm you do, I'm saying, snap, and you know, if I can see everything. If I can see that also, we as community, citizens, listen, pray for those that in authority. And then it said that we may live peaceful and quiet life. So when we started praying, we must have much such chaos going on. It's because we got over it's what, but it's many members. Different people got different roles and stuff like that there. And I'm thinking we're doing a great job praying and seeing this up. So I'll tell you what, when we stay together, we come unstoppable. It's just that's in the family, that's in the church, that's in whatever, and then people we come together, you're unstoppable. So I just think about us when I'm seeing the group, I'm seeing what God doing into the city, and even I'm proud of let's just keep the work. We as people continue to be praying for these men that God has placed given us. And so we thank God for them. Hey, God be blessed for we continue to pray. God bless you. Amen. Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop.
Amen.
Please stand for the,
Amen. Appreciate it.
please stand for the pledge.
God bless you, bro.
And to the republic, which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Put out our presentations on our agenda. And we have with us tonight Ms. Michelle Opie Gus. She's a CPA that conducted our 2023 audit. Thank you, Ms. Being with us.
Hope you were doing well and enjoyed your weekend. As the mayor said, my name is Michelle Gist. I'm with Wolfie Duff and Oakley, and I am here to present fiscal year 23's audit. And you have a copy in your packet. I hope you had time to review it over the past few days. With that, I'm just going to go over our audit opinions, and if you have any questions at the end, I'd be happy to try to answer them. So the first report that we issued is on page 5. It's titled Independent Auditor's Report. This report lays out everybody's responsibilities. It states that management is responsible for the financial statements. It's our responsibility to issue an opinion on them based on our audit work and our audit findings. We were able to issue what we call an unmodified opinion, which means that based on audit tests and findings, we feel that these financial statements are materially correct. We do have an emphasis of matter paragraph down there, pointing your attention to the fact that these are cash basis. Remember a few years ago, you all converted from a full basis to cash basis. The issues with the audit and the numbers, because the audits are so far behind, it has helped us kind of see the audits forward a little bit, but that is very important. The next section or the next report, the back, page 39. This is the independent auditor's report on it. Matters based audit of financial statements performed in accordance with governmental auditing standards. Again, this defines what a material weakness is. It states that we are not engaged in audit internal control. However, we do perform procedures to assess the internal controls that you do have and to assess whether or not you all, the management is by the internal control. We do have findings there in the very back of the report. These are the same as last year, fiscal year 22. As you get closer to getting on your audits, I do hope to see that these findings start to produce their way. But the next report is on page 41. This is the independent auditor's report on compliance with state laws and regulations. We do not have any findings in this report. It doesn't mean that there's none there. We did have one last year. We were able to remove that finding. It was related to budgets. The city was not budgeting all of their funds. They were budgeting, I believe, the general fund and utilities funds. And it is law that you approve a budget for every fund that you have, and you are doing that now as of this year. So we were able to get rid of that finding in that report. And again, the very last section of the report, the last 7 pages, those are the findings that we did find for material weakness. And these are the same we've had for several years. And as I mentioned, because these are through the management to correct them until you get caught up. So I am hoping to see in future audit years these findings too. Like as I said, I hope you have time to review it. If you have any questions?
We have, and I have, of course, and Michelle, I'm just wondering, information going forward, has a decision been made whether we're going to do a cash audit or what is?
That is strictly up to you guys. I'm not aware of any requirements today that would require you to be a accrual basis. So it would be my suggestion to remain cash basis unless you have a grant or bonds or someone that comes in and says you have to do accrual basis. That would be my suggestion, but it is your decision.
So it's not necessary that we use that cash space auditing.
That was just to get you guys.
Yeah, but it wasn't just because we're trying to catch up, we could use it all along as well, right? You know the question.
Hey, I have a quick question. Shell, last time I think you were here, we were expecting to receive this particular audit in March. That was your goal. And I'm asking this so we can hopefully avoid delays moving forward. Can you explain some of the type of things that delayed it another 3 months or 4 months or where?
Well, a lot of it was me, my workload. The federal government did not issue the compliance supplement. You all did not require a single audit for this year that I was auditing, but a lot of my other government clients did. They did not issue, they issued that 6 months late. And so that pushed all of my federal audits. They all crunched down. They did not extend the deadline. So a lot of that was on me. This audit is not a big part of it is for accounting software and units. You cannot enter adjusting journal entries prior to 3 years or 2 years from the current date. What happens is we make audit journal entries every year and they just accumulate. And so when we get on day one with an audit, we have to start with the same numbers as what you guys give us. And what you guys give us is not the same numbers that we ended with at the end of the prior year. So that takes days, if not over a week, just to get your books that we are auditing the same starting base, if that makes sense. So there's a lot going on there. But a lot of that was just.
I asked because we want to try to clean things up on our end so we can hopefully avoid.
You can get the audits caught up to where you're within that 2-year window that I mentioned, and you can actually make my journal entries. It will decrease time on everybody's part. You're paying consultants to help with your accounting at this point, and they do a lot of that work as well with me before I even get it, trying to make sure that the accounts have been adjusted. So get to that 2-year window. That will save a lot of time.
Okay, thank you.
Have a question?
On page 48, the last page, you said, recommend consider for us to consider the comptroller and financial director.
Correct.
That's what your recommendation is?
I believe you need someone full-time on staff that oversees the entire accounting.
Yeah, well, that's,
I mean, but you need, the consultants, like I said, we could not do this audit without them. However, they are not full-time. They are not overseeing the day in and day out in the accounting department. So it either needs to be outsourced. You did have that at some point. Right, maybe did it. Somebody, you need somebody here to, the governmental accounting is not easy. Accounting is not easy, period, but governmental accounting can be very complex. Especially if you're going to be getting federal funds, bond funds, you've got to make sure you've got somebody with their finger on everything, making sure that the rules are followed, the grants are followed, and doing everything you're supposed to do. And it's really hard to do that when you don't have a centralized person over accounting procedure.
you know, that's a must. There's no doubt. We gotta do that. So
I know it's very
that's
difficult.
when we function.
Most of my clients are struggling to find
Finance person on board, I mean, it just don't make sense. Just gotta do that. Any other question? Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, so. Got to accept this audit, Judge.
Motion to accept the draft audit.
Both Aldermen up and second by Wilson, that we accept the audit. You know. But if they would say aye.
Aye.
Go down to our public comments. First one on this, Mr. William. Did he? Hello, Mr. William.
Here, I'm pretty sure you're aware of what's going on, because like me and you talked yesterday about what's going on.
Yes.
About all these trees.
Somebody,
being
the trees on the, being cutting on the side. Yeah.
They were still over there in the day piling trees on the street. Boy that's doing it lives in Pasadena with 4107 Automobile Highway. How can
Well,
he?
we need that address. I gave the tag number you gave me
Yeah.
to. That's the same tag number with that address?
His truck, I got pictures of him again today. I got pictures of Waste Management over there picking up his commercial debris in our city. How can this keep happening? Mr. Bradford knows me. I've worked with that man for a long time about this mess. This is unacceptable. Every one of us, the citizens, is paying for these commercial guys to come in here and dump this stuff on our streets every day. The police officer yesterday I had over there told me it's okay for this stuff to happen. It is okay. It is all right for them to dump it in our streets, endanger the public, endanger traffic, all of this. How is this acceptable by our police department? When this littering is going on our city streets every day. You pay for it, every one of us pay for this, when it's supposed to be hauled to the landfill. Every day. And you cannot get the county code enforcement, half of them. I finally got David, the building inspector, to meet with me today. I know that man. I've worked for his daddy. I haul his daddy firewood every year. Every one of these guys, a lot of y'all know me because I've been in here for years over this city. And I've been fighting. Mr. Bradford knows that. I've donated work to citizens like that they piled on our street. Mr. Bradford knows that too. What is the city going to do about this stuff?
Okay, what we do about it is when you give me information like you did yesterday and what you give us today, and we will follow up on that because we appreciate you identifying this for us and making us aware. Because unless you as citizens make us aware of these things, we don't always know who's doing it. Sometimes they do it at night. But when you tell us, then it helps us to go deal with that. So we'll look this gentleman up based on his tag number and address, and we'll try to hold him accountable. Huh?
Got that right here.
Yeah, well, I got the tag yesterday, so if you can share the address with us, that'll be helpful.
Just need to dock in our city, period.
Where you going?
Like for our police officers to tell me that it's okay for all this to endanger our citizens.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that was all about, but all I can tell you is that we are as concerned about the dumping, not only of the trees, but tires and everything else in our city. So we are as concerned about that as you are. So it's very helpful for you to do what you're doing. So we appreciate that.
I had you out there yesterday when the officer told me that.
Well,
And then he was in his truck, telling me it's okay for this to be endanger our citizens like they do.
we'll have to find out why he said that, but
He
just know we're concerned about it and we'll follow up on it, Mr.
That ain't right, but he tells people when I'm looking out for the community. Y'all want everybody to report it, but then your office is doing it. I think the city board needs to do something with our police department to change this.
Well, we'll find out what's going on with that.
It's just no one guy doing that, either. It's a bunch of guys, it's a bunch of guys doing it.
The guy that I'm talking about that lives on Mobile, he blames Scott Walker. Scott Walker is living in Baymont Motel up there. He's over there cutting them trees. Scott Walker's up there in the motel room. So how's he over there cutting when the black guy's over there cutting the trees? And I got video and pictures of it. Even today, again.
And we're at 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sweet. What we have to do, and I mentioned this to the gentleman yesterday, and I'll say this to the public, just so the public would know, is what we have to do is help inform our citizens, because when the citizens will hire someone to cut a tree down in their yard, there'll be an agreement with the citizens and the guy that's doing the work that they're going to haul the tree off to the dump. But the guys that's cutting the tree down will tell the citizen, the city's going to pick it up. So all they do is cut it down and pile it on the side of the street, and that's what his concern is. So citizens need to know, when you hire someone to cut down a tree in your yard, you must hire them also to haul it to the dump. Because it's not the city responsible to do that. Now, if you're cleaning up your yard with limbs and leaves from a rain or a tornado or something, then Waste Management does pick that up. But they're not responsible for picking up the big stumps and those kind of things that come with when you cut down a tree. So we want to support the citizens when they're doing that. But we don't want the citizens to allow a contractor to take advantage of them by not completing the job of hauling the tree off to the dump. And that's what happened in this case.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we inform, waste management to inform their folks not to do that? If they know it's a commercial job, it's not part of their contract, we should send them a letter.
I spent 4 times today and I never could get out.
Well, I'm asking the mayor to do it. He runs the city. Send them a letter and tell them that they're out of compliance, they outside of their contract. You know, that's what I like to do, but they could be aware so when we catch them, they won't act like they didn't know.
Any other comments on that? Thank you, guys. We have with us now our former mayor, Anissa Dell.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes.
I'm just here simply tonight to give you an update. You know, the first part of the year in March, we formed a new organization, Community Unity Organization. And we've been working for the last couple of months on this Unity Festival that we're gonna put on next month, this month, on the 18th. So I want to invite all of you out there. I don't know if anyone approached you, but we would like for you to welcome that day, around 11 o'clock, but I'll get back with you on that as well. And just inform the public of what's going on in the community. So as I said, we've been working on this a couple of months and we're excited about where we are. We've gotten the information out to the churches and the daycare, and we're really focused on our youth. And we're trying to bring both the youth and the adults together. So we want to go back and do some old time games and stuff where kids and their parents are working together. So we've got games as far as the bean toss. We've got the three-legged race. We've got the bag salad race. We've got a lot of old-timey games that we really present to the young kids because they really don't know anything about anything anymore. So everything they do now is in the house. We want them to get outside the house, off the computers, and just have a day of fun. And we're trying to do it before they go back to school. So it's going to be on July the 18th. Also, we've got Arthur Haynes, Coach Arthur Haynes and Sheila Smith. They're going to do a basketball clinic that morning from 9 to 11. The festival itself doesn't start until 11, but the actual clinic, he wants to do that early. So that's going to be between 9 and 11, the clinic. And then after that, he's going to do a 3-on-3, I think he called it, for the youth. And we're going to have the youth and the adults working together. We thought that would be fun with the sack race, the leg, them working as a team. So those are some of the events that we're going to have. Bring your tents, bring your lawn chairs. It's going to be at the 2nd Street Park or Eddie Kayak Park on 2nd Street. We're inviting everyone out. If you have any questions, I think on the flyer you found, my number is there. You can give me a call. I can't think of anything else that I need to let you know. We have our website set up. It's not complete, but it is set up with the information on there. Any questions? Okay, well, that's all I have for you, just to make sure you are informed of what's going on in the city. Thank you. Oh, I will say this, we're working hand in hand right now with Pascagoula. We have a lot of members on board with Pascagoula, but we're going to extend it. It's not just going to be Moss Point. This year, we're starting in Moss Point. We're not trying to stay out there all day. It's going to be maybe between 11 and 4. Just something to start the process. And we hope to continue year after year. So thank you again for letting me present that. On the tug of war. Well, they're talking about doing a city tug of war. Not a city, how could I put that? Between cities there, they want some people from Moss Point and they want some people from Pascagoula. They're going to do a tug of war. And so they thought that would be interesting and fun. So now you don't have the pools on there, but we do want representatives from the city to participate. They want the mayors holding the ropes and the kids pulling. No, I think they just want the mayors there to support their each side. I don't think they're expecting the mayors to put on the rope.
I get to raise you on the site, me and you against each other.
You're not going to.
Oh.
My bad.
Mayor, I would just want to thank you for your leadership in this project. I have been approached about it. I did make the commitment to be there. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you all for your leadership in this, and we look forward. It's going to be an annual fair. Is that the plan, to make it an annual fair? It's an annual fair?
Okay. Annual fair.
It's an annual.
Annual, it's supposed to be an annual fair, yes, sir.
Okay,
And a fair.
thank you very much for your leadership. Mr. Stewart, your name is on here, but, we're gonna ask you to come up after the attorney because you're speaking on behalf of the project. Yeah, so we'll let you come up after your attorneys, speak, okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
We're down to our item number 4 on the agenda, consent agenda. Get a motion on approve item 4.1 through 4.6. As a board.
Second.
That was the motion of Alderman Chastain and second Alderman Chapman. All in favor, say aye. Ayes item, that's item 4.1 through 4.6. We're down to the main agenda, item 5.1. Judge, would you set us up with this?
Yes, sir. I'll read the main agenda item 1, then discuss the procedure we're going to follow tonight. Item 5.1 is to approve or decline a request by Jenny Hughes with Hempfield Towers LLC for a special exception to allow telecommunications towers in C3 Highway Commercial District located on Good Hope Street, Moss Point on parcel 201-191-00.00. Submitted by Marcus Ketchot, Director of Jackson County Planning Department, denied by Planning Commission on May 11, 2026. Located in Ward 5, Alderman Willie Chastain. Just so the board and the mayor will know, I reached out to counsel for the applicant as well as counsel for objector. We have the applicant represented tonight by its attorney, as well as one objector represented by its attorney. And so what we're going to do tonight, by agreement of the parties, I consulted them this week, since it's not something we do very often. The applicant will come first, and they've agreed to 15 minutes. He will have up to 15 minutes to make his presentation. Then the objector's attorney will likewise have 15 minutes. And of course, the young man you just recognized that will be here, he'll have his 3 minutes following the objector's attorney. Should the applicant reserve any rebuttal time, then he will be last to go for that amount of time. And I will keep the time for you all and gently remind you as you get close. Mayor, that will be the process. So at this point, I'd ask Andy to come and then introduce yourself and colleagues with you.
Attorney, I would ask you, within your 15 minutes, would you allow for rebuttal?
Yes, sir.
Within that 15 minutes?
Yes, sir. I'll work to do that.
Okay, good.
Good evening. My name is Andy. My last name is Rotenstrike. Just refer to me as Andy. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Hempfield Towers, but we're really here on behalf of Verizon Wireless and its customers. The whole reason we're here is to get better cell phone coverage in this part of the city. That's why we're here. That's why we're asking for this. This is to get better coverage in Ward 5 and Ward 4, so we can get the coverage that some of these other wards and other neighboring cities have. This property is located right off of Highway 63 and Good Hope Street. It's currently zoned C3, commercial highway, so it's commercially zoned property. We're proposing a 195-foot tower with a 4-foot lightning rod. Now that's important because anything under 200 feet, the FAA does not require you light it. So this will not have lights on top. So it will not be seen at night. All right, so that's important to keep that in mind. Verizon will be the initial tenant, but this tower is going to be built strong enough to accommodate AT&T and T-Mobile when they decide their coverage needs to improve in these areas of the city. So your ordinance requires a special exception for radio and television towers. This is the radio tower in C3. It allows them up to 35 feet, but if you want to go above 35 feet, it requires a special exception. So that's what we're asking for. Verizon identified this gap in coverage along the Highway 63, but it will serve, if we're allowed to fill in this coverage, it'll serve the residences, the businesses, and the travelers in that area. Verizon identified a half-mile radius where it could put a tower or look for a tower to provide the coverage it needs to fill that gap in coverage. The first thing that Verizon does when it needs to fill a gap is to go look and see if there are existing towers there that they can just hang there quicker, cheaper, simpler. In this half-mile radius where it needed to be to get this coverage, there is no existing tower. Now, there's a tower over a mile to the north, and there's 2 towers over a mile to the south. Verizon's actually already on some of those, not all, but some. 2 of them are very close together. Even going on that other one would not fill this gap. So in order to fill this gap, it needs a tower in this area. And so the only way to do that, because there's no existing tower, is to ask to build another. And by making it strong enough to hold the other carriers, you won't have to have a second tower here in the future. If I could, I'd like to hand out items that were generally in your packet, but these kind of just focus on a few things. Let me just start up. You'll take one and pass them.
As he's handing those out, just as a reminder, you have in your packet with the planning commission, by the way, look at here on behalf of the planning department. But you have what the planning commission have before it, as well as the document submitted by counsel for the applicant and counsel from the objectors. Most of this stuff, other than the handout tonight, you already have in your packet.
So I believe you have all of these, but I just wanted to highlight these especially for you. So this first page shows where on the parcel this proposed site's going. Again, this is the commercially zoned property. It's a pretty small piece of property. We've outlined the lease area in yellow. So the tower will go in the middle of that lease area. It'll have some guide wires that will all remain on the main parcel. This site meets all of your setback requirements and all of your height requirements in your ordinance. We do not need any variances to get outside of your ordinance. The second page, if you'll turn over, is the same parcel, just an aerial view. There's a lot of woods on the property. This kind of shows it, but it is, I wanted to show you, it's heavily wooded. So all the ground equipment and the fencing will be hidden from street view and from view from anywhere else. The next page, which is an elevation view, this tells you the type of tower that we're proposing. It's a pretty slim design. It's a guide wire tower. It's not the big fat 3-legged lattice tower that we've seen to the north up on the highway on I-10 and 63, and both towers to the south of it. So it's going to be a much thinner design. Verizon will be those 4 antennas, or really there'll be 12, but noted at the top, Verizon antennas at 190. And then you'll have 3 areas for future carriers, again, when T-Mobile and AT&T decide they need the additional coverage. The next page is a propagation map. This is a map that Verizon uses to determine its coverage and where its gaps are. It runs these programs through some internal programming software. It takes into account its existing sites. All of these red triangles on the south heading up Highway 90, those are existing Verizon sites right now. And the one to the north with the blue and the red, that is above the red circle, that's an existing Verizon site. This red dotted circle is the coverage gap, which is the yellow. Now, what these colors mean is the green is what you're trying to achieve here, right? The green is the strongest coverage. That's the in-building coverage. You can operate your phone or your laptop wirelessly inside a building like we're in now. As you get further away from these towers, you get into the yellow and the blues where you start to lose coverage. Turn the page. That's the same map, but the site turned on. You can see the difference, how that red circle is now filled in with the green instead of the yellow. That's the need for the tower. This is why Verizon is looking to go here. Now, this next page, this aerial map with the numbers on it and the big red circle, Goes with the next page, which is the spreadsheet. When we couldn't find an existing tower and needed to locate a willing landowner to build this tower, we had to look at all the properties in that search ring, right? So we could rule them out, see if anybody's interested, because we have to have a landowner willing to lease us property for the tower. This is the attempt looking at 33 parcels within that search ring. And we reached out with letters and phone calls. Most did not respond. Some did, but were not interested. Where we're going now, where we're trying to go, was a landowner that was willing to lease property to us. It was on a piece of property that met your ordinance as far as setbacks and height requirements. And it's also on a piece of property that we can build on physically. There's no big cliffs. And so that's why we chose this property. And it was the only one available. Because after looking, we couldn't find a willing landowner or buildable property or one that met the ordinance. So that's why we're trying to go here. If you turn to this page, I wanted to show you just the existing towers that were looked at. Opposition's counsel had pointed out the other towers that I mentioned and why we couldn't go on those. I wanted to show you this. The light blue circle is the search ring. We needed a tower inside that search ring. There were none. The other towers you see to the south and to the north show where the other towers are. And then I included this letter from Centerline, which is the type of letter they sent out to those landowners, those 33 landowners, to see if they were interested. I wanted you to see how that process was done. And then there was concern about the property being small and whether the tower, if it collapsed, how would it collapse? This is an engineer's letter, the last page, which shows the tower is designed with breakpoints. So if in the unlikely event of a failure, it collapses upon itself and stays within the fence compound. Now, your ordinance for the special exception requires that we meet certain criteria. The first is that we be in harmony with the orderly development of the district. Again, we're located in a C3 commercial highway commercial district. Towers are contemplated use in this district. Again, they're allowed up to 35 feet. We're adjacent to Highway 63 along a commercial corridor. There is heavy industrial just to the south of us, so we're in the right spot. There's no residences nearby, no neighborhoods. The size of the site is adequate to meet your ordinance requirements. And this will not impair the value of adjacent properties. I've submitted to you a report, which you already have, which was done in Jackson and Harrison County to compare sales prices of properties adjacent to cell towers that are already here. And when you look at those sale prices, there is no diminished value for the homes that were next to the tower versus ones further away. So there's no diminution in value. We also need to show there's not going to be any harmful effects to adjoining properties. So this is a pole. That's what it is. There's no lights. There's no noise. There's no dust. There's no odor. There's no fumes, no flames, no traffic because of this use. The uses that are allowed in a C3 district without coming or with a special exception, actually, these are uses permitted. Convenience stores, drive-in restaurants, hotels, motels, lumber yards, muffler shops, drive-through oil and lubrication services, glass windshield repair. All of those are allowed uses in this district as is. All of those uses are going to create traffic and other odors, fumes, noises, etc. This does none of that. There is no negative impact to adjacent properties for this use of this property for a pole and for a tower. We meet all the district regulations for C3, like we said. We comply with the applicable standards. With that, I'd like to reserve some time, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer.
Federal Sachs first, Judge, tell me from an order here. Is anyone here for the project? Is for the project. Is there anyone here?
So I have with me Ms. Jenny Hughes, who submitted the application. She's here, and Tori, your last name. Right. Almost bad at Robinhood, right? She's also here as well. They're here with, for the applicant as well with me. I don't think they're, asking to speak.
No one, you don't have anyone want to speak?
That's it. I mean, unless someone in the audience would like to speak in favor, which I haven't told. But feel free to get up if you'd like.
Okay. All right, good. We can have,
Okay, and just for the record, it's 11 and a half minutes. You did well.
Did good.
Let's see. Time left.
Thank you.
Mayor, I had a quick question. I want to clear something up.
Yes, sir.
Second time I've seen this letter that was sent to the city of Pascagoula because they own the little piece of land where the incinerator used to
That's
be.
right.
Were they not interested?
Well, so the letter that was presented came from the city manager, and he says he was not aware.
Okay.
The letter didn't go to the city manager. I think Jenny that
Yes.
reached out and to the city of Pascagoula, see if they were interested, and spoke to someone, I think in the planning department or something like that. And they said that that property was in litigation or something to that effect, so they were not interested in leasing it to them.
Okay, thank you.
And Jenny can answer any questions on that.
I have one question to her. What is they saying about the airport here? Is that,
So every cell tower must go through review by the FAA. We've done that.
so
FAA has cleared this.
so the airport don't have, it's no effect on them?
No, sir. They look at where it is with regard to the flight path, how tall it is, and this is outside of that, and the FAA has signed off on this. But we have to do that for every tower that's built.
I would like to ask other board members, because once we have heard from both sides, when we get ready to decide, the discussion will just be among us. So if you have any questions, I want you to ask the questions now of each side, so we can have that behind us. And once we start prior to the vote, the discussion will be just among us. Was there any other questions that you have for?
It's much easier.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
It started making handouts from documents. Y'all have this strategic plan.
Okay.
Like y'all all need more paper.
Thank you.
Here's if you could warn me at 10 minutes. And leave a little time for, very much,
So,
leave a little time for Mr. Thank you.
this is part of what we already have, like.
It is, those are tabbed and it's a little easier to navigate with the tabs on it.
I just wonder, we're not reading anything different, we
You
read.
don't have to read it twice.
Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here before you today. I'm here on behalf of Bob Boyd. My name's John Banahan. I'm a lawyer in Pascagoula. Lived in Jackson County for the last 45 years. I want to talk to you a little bit about why this is not only a bad idea, but why it's not a legal thing. That is this, a 200-foot communication tower is not recognized as a permitted special exception under the zoning ordinance. We're talking about 4596, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. The other thing is 200-foot tower is not harmonious with the orderly development of the district, and the height of this structure will discourage the appropriate development and use of the adjacent land and buildings and impair the value. On the front end, the burden of proof in this situation, y'all are basically the jurors to decide this, but the burden of proof is on the applicant. The applicant is not Verizon. The applicant is Infield. They build towers. This is a commercial endeavor. They want to put a tower up. They want to put Verizon on it, and then they want to put a couple other folks because it's a commercial venture. And I don't have a problem with that. But I've heard nothing from Verizon, nor will you hear anything from Verizon in support of this application. The requested special exception that they have, the reason that it shouldn't be allowed under any circumstance is that if you look at tab 2 in this notebook with that little paper that I gave you, that's part of your ordinance, excerpts from your ordinances. If you look at page 12 at the bottom, when you get to tab 2, that is the definition of a special exception. And it says special exception means a use that would not be appropriate generally or without restriction throughout a zoning district, but which, if controlled as to number, area, location, and relation to the neighborhood, would promote public health, safety, convenience, or general welfare. Such uses may be permitted in a zone district in accordance with provisions of this chapter as special exceptions. This is what I want you to listen to. If the specific provisions are made in the district regulation for such use. That's very important. Because this C3 district, it does not have an allowance. It does not have a provision for communication towers. You have 2 other ordinances that do. That is the Industrial Light District, which is on page 38 of your papers that you have there before you in your ordinances, specifically spells out that a cell tower, a communication tower, is a legitimate exception that can be applied for. In heavy industrial district, which there is area in here, the BT Halter property, which is now Bollinger Shipyard, the Pascagoula piece of property, and others along the river there, that's heavy industry. All of that in that specific ordinance allows a special exception for a telecommunication tower. When you look at this C3, it doesn't talk about a communication tower. The only and the closest thing is a reference to a television antenna, an earth station, whatever that is. But it's talking about radio, television towers, antennas, or earth stations that exceed 35 feet. This thing is 200 feet tall. It's not a television tower. It's a telecommunication tower. It is large. It's very large, and it's not allowed for as a special exception under that of your city ordinance and code. The other side of this I want to talk about is the lack of harmony. If you'll look at what y'all have done, what the city of Moss Point has done with that corridor up and down 63, is you've encouraged businesses to come in, invest in Moss Point, become part of the tax base of Moss Point, and they all came get in that corridor without a big telecommunication tower right there. My client, Bob Boyd in particular, has a dealership that will be impacted by this because he has some property further to the south. He would like at one point to expand. He's made no secret about that. But having a big tower there is a bit of a competitor to that. And it might have some effect on other people that want to come up and down that corridor. I don't think your citizens mind having a place to get their oil changed or any of those other types of businesses that Andy talked about. I do think that people coming in and want to set up a business, given an opportunity to set up wherever they want to, up and down I-10, but in another car dealership, you don't want to impair the ability of the city to recruit and maintain a business like that that's going to contribute to the financial well-being of the city. I want to talk to you about a couple of things. One, this search that was done, the survey that was done, and you've got it in the materials that were provided to you by the applicant for Greystone Valuation Services. That's a man in Florida who is the appraiser. Harris Simpson was his name. I've never met the man. Don't have anything against the man. But on April 29th, 2026, just a couple of months ago, look at what this is regarding. It's not regarding a cell tower on Highway 63. This report is regarding a Canal Road wireless communication facility. An impact study for a proposed 164-foot monopole cell tower on Robinson Road in Gulfport, Mississippi. Misspelled Gulfport, 2 words. Somebody completely unfamiliar with this area wrote this report up. And it was a report about the effect of a cell tower next to residential areas in Long Beach, Gulfport, Biloxi, Ocean Springs, but nothing about Moss Point and nothing about the impact on a commercial zone like you have here on Highway 63. The other topic I'd like to talk about just for a moment is this survey that was done of businesses, or property owners rather, along that circle that we looked at earlier. 33 businesses were identified. I looked at it, 6 or 7 of those are in that heavy industrial area, which could allow for a special exception. That's the reason we contacted the city of Pascagoula, because that's one of those properties. You have a letter in your packet from the city manager indicating they were never contacted, to his knowledge, about anyone going to purchase or lease that property. In response, you've been given a letter that was essentially sent to the city of Pascagoula. All I ask you to do is look at the address on that letter. Look and see where it was made. Post Office Box 666, Moss Point. City of Pascagoula doesn't have a PO box, much less Google 666 anyway. But they don't have a post office box, so they wouldn't get the letter. I don't know how much follow up there was, but I'll tell you, the burden of proof is on the applicant here. So they have to prove to you that it's not going to be a diminution of property value. That report's not even on Moss Point property. We got an article that we provided to you. I can tell you sincerely, I don't put a whole lot of stock in things that people put on the internet because they say pretty much anything they want. But the article references a study from the University of South Alabama. And they did a lot bigger survey than this fellow from Georgia did. They listed several thousand homeowners. It's on tab 6 documents I gave you. And at least according to the University of South Alabama, when they talked to over 23,000 home sales in Mobile County, they found a quantifiable diminution in value of property by proximity to a telecommunications tower. Again, not our burden, not our burden in opposing this. The burden is on the applicant to prove to you that it won't cause a diminution in property value. It's their burden to show you that the special exception they've asked for actually fits within the scope of your ordinance, which it does not. And it's their burden to convince you by preponderance of the evidence according to your ordinance that this is a harmonious use. It will be in the best interest of that area, that commercial district. It is so well up in Highway 60.
You're at 10 minutes, Council.
We got a minute?
Yeah, you're at 10 minutes.
I'm going to stop it right now. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Mr. Boyd is here. Bob would like to speak to y'all just briefly, let you hear his perspective on this. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I got a question. Can you tell me what, either Mr. Boyd or you, what expansion is planned and when?
I would leave that to my client.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
He may tell you it's proprietary, I don't know. Thank you.
So, Mr. Bob Boyd, owner of Hunter, along with that question, what plan, but also when, how much time?
Yeah, well, right now what we've got is opportunity. So the Bob Boyd organization has grown. General Motors came to us and asked us to purchase the Chevy store in Biloxi. So that was something we had no intention of. And right now we have another dealership that we're in the process for award, which would be somewhere in Texas. So this area, I've always thought, I mean, there's still other franchises that can be bought. There's two other franchises I'd be interested in putting out here. But that lot that we have, it expands to the south of where the dealership is. That could be used as a staging area. You always, if you have extra inventory, you need a place to park it. You know, those are the things that I wanted to do with that. And if we had to put another dealership, there would be enough room. So we own altogether probably 17 acres right there in that area between Joe Hans and Mac McKinnis. We had to purchase both pieces of property. So right to tell you that we worked hard to be in Moss Point, Mississippi. This open point that was awarded to me and our organization was awarded actually for an open point in Pascagoula. But since Mr. Estabrook built out on Highway 63, I've always learned that competition ain't always bad. And this business about a nice, quiet location, I do like the noise. I do like the traffic. I want other businesses around me that are going to attract other businesses. And that's what I was interested in Highway 63. I told Sue that Highway 63 would be a corridor of car dealerships one day. This was when there was only Estabrook Toyota, am I right? And I was sitting in my garage in Clinton, Mississippi, telling her this on the phone. I said, we are going to be the catalyst that will get other dealerships out there. So we built that Honda store. I invested $10 million, and plus I had to capitalize the dealership. So $10 million to come to Moss Point, Mississippi. I went away from Pascagoula because I wanted to be next to that Toyota store where retail business is happening, not some cell phone tower. Okay, this was the attraction to me. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, one day we build here, then they're going to bring the Nissan store. You got the imports fighting each other. Now they're going to bring the domestics down where the other domestics come. Okay, you're going to have Chevy, Chrysler, and Ford. You're going to have Toyota, and you're going to have Nissan, and the best of them all, Honda's going to be there. So, you know, that's what we've got and what we've built. So Moss Point goes from a place of lack of revenue to a place of we're getting sales tax, we're getting property tax, we're getting more money brought to this area. And I saw this vision from my corporate. And how the other part of that vision is what you build on 63. 63 is going to be a retail corridor. It needs to look like a retail corridor. You know, it can't look like some hodgepodge. You've seen towns where it's hodgepodge and all of a sudden there's some development, then there's more. It's all got to flow. Because with Highway 63, you've got two frontage roads that can be built along I-10 in between two exits. The only town around on the Gulf Coast that has two exits within a mile apart. You could build frontage on both sides, stack that up with retail, go down 63 and have retail, and you could support the people in Pascagoula and the people in Moss Point. So that was the vision that I built on. I bought into. I wanted that to happen. And I feel like that this is not the direction that I would like for the city to go.
Well, tell me, how do you see that tower really adversely affected? And how do you see that tower being in that place really adversely affecting?
Well, I can say this, okay, is if you have a cell tower, okay, so Madison, Mississippi, they built a cell tower right alongside the interstate, right in front of retail businesses. The mayor in that town made that cell company make it look like a Washington Monument. So when you drive past Madison, you see this big Washington Monument. That ain't the Washington Monument. That is a cell tower in disguise because they didn't want it in front of their businesses. And that's what I think Moss Point, Mississippi should do. I would not have built my dealership next to a cell tower, period. If Sue would have told me that Joe Hans had a piece of property right there with a cell tower right next door to it, I'd have been somewhere else. I'd been behind La Quinta. I'd have been in Moss Point, but I'd been somewhere else. It would not have been next to a cell tower. It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent to retail people. I am a retail person. Looks matter. Okay, traffic matters. Support matters. And if you act like that you don't care about your environment around you, that's what people perceive.
Okay, Bob.
We're at 16 minutes. I'm on,
Yes, sir.
just so everybody will know, I'm gonna add to his flow time any time you go over, okay?
Okay.
That's good. You're
All
gonna,
right, thank you.
you
Bob.
want to
I don't
No.
count.
I'm good. I'm good. Am I- Any questions?
Yeah, we'll get you on with it. Well, do anybody got a question about?
I don't count the question time against them, so it's, y'all.
Yeah.
One question, Mr. Mayor. In our discussion in the planning meeting,
Yes, sir.
you offered some area on your property away from Highway 63 as a possible site for that tower. Are you still willing to do that?
I mean, I'm willing to work with them. I know that the Aldermen Marine people want to work with them. There's Paul Hans who wants the point right down the road. I don't see where 200, 500 feet makes a difference. Okay, that he's out on the bayou. He wants the thing. He wants the income. He told me he was in talks with him 2 years ago, and then he waited about a month and they were serious about it. Then all of a sudden they went quiet. So, you know, that's up to them. I ain't buying cell towers for them, but I don't want a cell tower next to my property that I've made an investment into an area that I think is going to grow. I think it's going to be an awesome story 10, 15, 20 years from now. You guys and the building community are going to be part of what gets built here in Austin.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
And I need your support.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there someone, well, Mr. Stewart, you were opposed, right? Would you come make your comment?
And I'm proud to be a part of this, and have speaking behind such great people. But I'm just a small person. I'm no lawyer, but I represent approximately 500 to 600 people one place and 300 or 400 at another. Represent Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church. Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church, if you think for a few minutes, Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church, that road was named behind our church. That's Good Hope Road. But that's not the problem. Problem is when Good Hope Baptist Church decided to come closer into the city with a bigger piece of property, they had to leave their loved ones there at the cemetery. And that's the problem that I have now. I asked in the zoning committee meeting, and I asked in the last Alderman meeting, who was going to be responsible when that tower fall? Somebody said that the tower had breakaway stuff, they're going to fall straight down. But I'm here to know that I'm no engineer, but I'm here to know that when that high wind come and all that stuff happen, there ain't no way in the world you can tell me that the Lord gonna let that thing go straight down. Because it don't happen like that. You got houses and things that blow by hurricane, blow miles and miles down the road. I was not too long ago in a tornado, and my commercial building roof, we don't know where it's at now. We still don't know where it's at. So that's not gonna happen. Say what you want to say. You think that that thing gonna fall down on that lot, it's not gonna fall. It's gonna fall down in Good Old Baptist Church Cemetery because that thing is 190 foot tall, and when it come down, it's gonna come down in that cemetery. We don't bury our loved ones. They can't trust that family and trust us to keep their bodies safe. So what's gonna happen when it's gonna bring up another thing and they like to bury them again or something? I guess I don't know. But my question back then and my question now, who's gonna be responsible? At one time, we had some kids living down the road and they would come down there and bust up the expensive headstones and flower pots. The people come out there and put the flowers and things in. And the first thing they did was call Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church, wanted us to replace it. But not our responsibility. So I asked before, who's gonna take the responsibility to pull that tower out and pull that bodies up and replenish that bodies and the miserableness and the thing that that family got to go through again to bury their loved ones. I was told by the landowner, and I hate to say it, but I think that she can't do something for the land. But I was told by the landowner that they come to it. I asked the lawyer, the city lawyer said, like, I get my own lawyer. That's true. And then so now we got the company lawyer here, I'm gonna ask him, are y'all gonna be responsible? Who's gonna be responsible? That's the thing. And then on that too, Mayor, I want you to think about it. You wasn't here on the zoning committee meeting, but the representative on the Jackson County Planning Commission spoke and said that there's no other place in the city that's permissible for. I don't know that they do that at y'all board meeting, but the president wasn't there, but the president was acting. He caught it and he said, "You telling me there's no other zone committee for that in Jackson County, but only one cell tower have went before this board?" That's something that we got to think about, y'all. Why is it 2 or 3 different things going on? There's no other thing permitted for it, but yes, it's still, I heard today that there's several lots, industrial, commercial, and light commercial permitted for cell towers. And then at the same time, we got some within 400-500 foot from this property. Why this property is so concerned? Build it out there in the woods somewhere. But I'm here for Good Hope Baptist Church and they love them. If everybody's possible, just realize if the property owner not gonna be responsible, when somebody got what you want me to do, when somebody loved ones that's dead out there get hit with one of those towers, one of those beams in their part or something, and die, and they can't die again, but at the same time, somebody got to correct that problem. So if you permit them to do it, you're gonna be just as bad off as the people that's trying to do it, because you're gonna be responsible also. You're watching my time line, but you can give me for 3 minutes. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna sit down. Not only did Mr. Boyd have a dream, but I'm just a citizen. 20 years ago, I had a dream that runway was gonna be call outs. And when the first call out went up through there, I started telling my folks that it's a dream. I stood up in Good Hope Baptist Church and had to dress vocational Bible school one night, and I was telling them about my dream 20 years ago, that was gonna be a call out going up and down that road. When I started going out there, wasn't nothing out there before a truck stopped. And I attended, but I had my dream. I thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the total time from the objectors was 23 minutes. Council, for the applicant spent 12 minutes. So you'll have 10 minutes. If you won't stay, you don't have to stay.
I'll take that as a hint. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this information you're getting. I know it's a lot being thrown at you. I do want to address a few things just for the record. In your ordinance, telecommunications towers are not defined. Neither are the radio towers and neither the television towers. The question kept coming up is the impact on these properties. I haven't heard how they're going to be impacted. With a use that doesn't have light, noise, fumes, odor, dust, and traffic, how will they be impacted? How is a cemetery negatively impacted with a tower on adjacent property? How is a car dealership negatively impacted because of a tower providing a necessary service on adjacent property? Randy may tell you and talk to you about the federal law, which controls here, the Telecommunications Act. It was passed in 1996 under President Clinton. It allows local governments to regulate cell towers, and you do that by passing ordinances that specifically govern towers. Other than some or no mentioned about radio, television, and telecommunications towers, not wireless, that's all that's in the ordinance. The federal law says that if this board denies an application for a cell tower, it has to base its decision on substantial evidence. Substantial evidence. What substantial evidence do you have to deny? John kept saying the burden is on the applicant. The burden is not on the applicant under the federal. The burden is on John and Mr. Boyd and the cemetery to provide you with substantial evidence on how it negatively will affect them. And they have not given you any. None. They provided no studies about property values. They provided no information other than they don't want to look at it. They provided no information other than I don't want it. They talk about it wouldn't look good in a commercial area. Would you rather have it in residential areas? Because your ordinance does not allow that. This proposed use is taking up a piece of property that's 100 feet by 100 feet. That's it. Twice the size of this room. None of the commercial uses along Highway 63 happen without the proper utilities being in place. Electric, sewer, water, telephone. This is providing wireless service specifically to wards 4 and 5 that don't have the coverage in the other wards right now. We have met your ordinance. We've met the criteria for a special exception. And we ask that you grant the special exception and let this tower be built. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try it.
Any question?
Yes, sir.
As he said earlier, there was 2 or 3 other places you could put that tower.
That's why I gave you that map and that spreadsheet. We looked at every parcel in that search ring. The dealership is listed in that spreadsheet. They've already said no or didn't respond. We approached Mr. Boyd's dealership. We looked at every parcel in that ring. This is the only parcel where we have a willing landowner that's buildable, that meets the coverage requirements of the carrier, and that meets your ordinance. We can't put it in residential. The industrial property we looked at as well, they didn't respond or said no. And there's no existing tower. This is the only option. That's why I gave you that information, so you have it. That's the evidence to show why we're here at this parcel.
What we do both?
Yes, sir.
The proposed height
Mhm.
is how tall?
So it's 195-foot tower with a 4-foot lightning rod, which
Okay, so, okay. By being 195 feet, and it sits on 100 by 100. The collapse zone should be 2 times
it's
the
actually,
width and 2 times the width.
so it's how these towers are designed. They're in sections. I think the sections are 20 feet or 30 feet. Those sections are just connected. You have a section on top of a section. That's how you build the tower. It's not one continuous structure.
Right.
The towers collapse, especially this kind with the guide wires. It keeps it from going onto the adjacent property.
Gotcha.
It is designed to collapse inside the fenced compound. That's what it's for. That's why we put these in areas like this that are sensitive where they're concerned. That's why we're doing this type of tower.
Question?
Our attorney, I have a question of our attorney.
Yes, sir.
What do we have, he was talking about federal law. Can you go through that?
But he was talking about the burden that the board must meet, where it's not under the federal law. No, there's going to be statutory, probably, differences of opinion on what that would be, but that's what he's referring to. In the package before you, when the planning department presented this proposal to the planning commission, if they recommended the following: if you approve it, the basis of that recommendation is that the requested special exception would be in harmony with the purpose and intent of this ordinance and would not be injurious to the neighborhood or general welfare. If you deny it, their recommended motion was that the special exception would not be in harmony with the purpose of this ordinance and will be injurious to the neighborhood or general welfare. So, but what he's talking about is the burden that the board must meet in order to, on appeal, should this matter be appealed to a higher court, to support your decision being a substantial basis. I won't give, just for fairness for both sides, both attorney John and Andy, if y'all want to touch on that, you can, just so everybody will understand that.
So, and thank you for that. So yes, those are the choices you have. Yes, it's in harmony and will grant a special exception. No, it's not in harmony. This is under the federal law. If you decide to vote no, it's not, you need to state why you're doing it. What is the evidence you're relying on? And I'm telling you, from my point of view, you have not received any evidence from anyone in the record from which you could be able to rely to deny it. That's what I'm suggesting.
I just had a question.
Yes, sir.
Were you given the same opportunity to present your case to the planning commission back when?
I was not. The applicant was, but it was by Zoom. And so we knew that was a preliminary board that gave a recommendation to this. When we got the recommendation that they gave, that's when we decided we wanted to be here in person.
Okay. I just want to point out that the planning commission did vote unanimously 6-0 on this matter.
And I will say in the minutes, there was no substantial evidence listed in there as to what they used to rely on. I think that's problematic. But again, this is the board that makes the decision. They're recommending.
Just so the board will know, all the documentation is in your packet and as I will be a part of the minutes.
It's fine. We to piggyback off of what Alderman Wilson said, that recommending body is our sound judgment as well. So we're pretty much relying on that particular unanimousness to give us.
All I would do is for you to ask yourself, why did they do that? Because that's what this board needs to provide. The reasons why and the evidence behind it.
Undoubtedly, they had a reason. Undoubtedly, they had a reason to deny it.
I didn't see what it was in the minutes.
I have a question,
Yes, sir.
the microwave dishes, how's that's gonna affect, adjoining properties?
So those microwave dishes. Okay.
It's showing microwave dishes on the tower.
I don't know that.
Okay, I don't know the effects that microwave have on people in that area. I know
It's
the
not-
microwave I have at the house.
It's a different microwave. So this is a regular. So this allows, when you make a phone call from your cell phone and it goes to your tower, it has to bounce along from tower to tower to tower till it gets to a switch station somewhere in South Mississippi to route your call. That's how it gets from one tower to the next. Most towers don't have those. Those are going away. I don't think there's going to be one on here, but I do recall now that you say that they're indicated there. I think it says future possible.
No,
But
no, it said microwave dishes at 100 feet radius.
if they have microwave dishes, that's where they would be on the tower to give the top spaces for the antennas. So if there is a microwave, that's where it'd be. But when fiber, underground or aerial fiber gets to this tower, which we're building to, the microwave.
Mr. Mayor, now you asked for questions. Are we open for discussion?
At this point, I think you're almost there to, if there's any final questions for him, then I think Mayor, then the board can.
Yeah, I just want to make sure before he sit down that we ask him questions that we have, so we through with that part of it. So if there are any other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
I decline.
Take one.
I say no.
Wait a minute. Well, it's got to be in the form of motion. Got to be in the form of motion, the way the judge, there's two different processes.
If your motion,
Verges,
if your motion is to deny,
Right.
it would be that based on the fact that the requested special exception will not be in harmony with the purpose and intent of this ordinance and will be injurious to the neighborhood or general welfare. That's your motion, of course. And the record would have to include the support that he's talking about, but that's your motion. And we would use the motion that was presented to the planning commission that presented. Okay, if your motion is to deny.
Make a motion to deny.
all right, Alderman Chastain has made a motion based on that reading, keep it accurate in reference to the planning commission. He has made a motion to deny the request.
Mr. Mayor,
Is there a second?
I second that motion, Alderman Chastain's motion, and I have comments.
You have comments? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So, for the benefit of the members of the board present that are not aware, I did attend that planning meeting on behalf of the mayor and the city to listen to our constituents, their opinion on this tower. Now, as far as the city is concerned, Mr. Andy, we are not in objection to your tower. I want to make that clear. Let the record show that we are not in objection to your tower. We are in objection based on the advice and the opinions of our constituents in that area. We object to that location. Build a tower. We got to find a better place to build that tower. Now, I will say this. I don't know if it's Hill Hill or who constructed those towers, but you have 3 existing towers in the vicinity. You identified that on your chart. The 2 towers that are south of the Highway 63 bridge, one adjacent to a Mississippi power station, one that you just built, if not Hill Hill, someone just finished that tower a matter of 2 or 3 months ago without objection. The tower that you have on the opposite side of Highway 63 at Earl Boulevard is in a residential neighborhood, put there without objection on the part of the city or any of our constituents. The tower that, now these are behind, capital behind Highway 63. The tower that, if not you, someone built behind with a capital behind the pilot truck stop, behind, capital behind, Comfort Inn, behind Cracker Barrel with a capital behind, not out on the service road or in front of any of these businesses. So the existing towers are not adjacent to service roads or the businesses that are aligned on Highway 63. Every picture that you showed us, I looked at your package, every picture that you showed us of towers that exist in Harrison County that Greystone sent us are behind the residents or behind the businesses, according to the pictures that you sent, not out in front on the main roads of those where those properties exist. So we don't have a problem with the tower. We got a problem with the location. How will the businesses be impacted? Their models that preceded your application. These guys came to us several years ago with a business model and business plans in that area to expand that did not include a tower. Now here you are several years later proposing the tower that impacts their business model. That's the impact, if that makes sense. So for those reasons, and not to mention the good hope sanctity of their cemetery. So for those reasons, Mr. Mayor, that's why I offered the second on that motion to deny in agreement with the Planning Commission.
You have a motion by Alderman Chastain, a second by Alderman Chapman. All in favor, raise your hand.
Yeah, I had another comment.
Question?
You didn't think you, did you ask for questions? I didn't hear you.
No, well, now we got a motion.
Amongst ourselves.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
You know that we have a motion and a second. So now that's question. Yeah.
when I first heard about this, and the mayor, and I believe Alderman Chapman and the attorney has my email, I was immediately against it for the very reasons that John brought out and others have, that we wanted mainly, just in a nutshell, I wanted to protect that commercial corridor. That's an important corridor to me, and that's no secret about how I feel about the corridor. But after I looked at it closer, I emailed them again and I said, wait a minute, I went back and looked closer and this tower is down the street, around the corner, hidden by woods. I didn't really see where it was a problem, and I can certainly understand why the planning department, not the planning commission, but the planning department recommended it for approval. I still don't really see why this is a direct problem for the dealership, Mr. Boyd. And no offense to you, I appreciate everything you're doing in Moss Point. I'm just being honest. I just don't see why it would be a problem because it's around the corner. And even if you use that land for what you said, extra storage or whatever, I just can't see this single pole being any type of threat. I'm not in the car business, so there's something there that I may not know. Okay, I admit that. But I know a lot of cars these days are bought using cell phones and cell tower signals. I mean, a lot of business going across cell phones. So there's that. I also don't really understand the problem with the cemetery, although I do share your I don't say share, but I'm sympathetic to your concerns about the tower falling on graves. I wouldn't want that either. They did describe how it's supposed to collapse upon itself. I think they've got that covered. It doesn't make any noise. It's no light. I mean, you've got a 4-lane highway right behind the cemetery. You know, cars could run over it. A lot of stuff could happen. I just wanted to bring these things out before we vote. We do have, like Alderman Chapman said, cell towers just on the south side of the river that have already been built. I don't know if they require special exceptions. They may be an industrial. Looks like they are in an industrial area. We have one we approved right here at the railroad property, right down close to downtown, and we have one we recently approved on a school property. So I don't know if this goes to appeal or not. Those may be those issues may become problematic for us. And I think what I heard the attorney for the HIP bill say was we haven't stated specifically what the objection is, what the impact would be. Other than we don't want it, we don't like it, we don't want to look at it. And that is an impact, I agree. I'm really torn between both sides. I have friends and the elders and the other families that have lived in this area for years and years, and they've watched the properties around them become commercialized and industrialized. And this was an opportunity for at least one of them to get a little money back out of the value of their property with a development that really, in my opinion, doesn't really appear to impact anyone. But I just wanted to share that. And I think that's all I have to say, Mayor.
Okay. That was, certainly want to be fair to both sides. And that was why I asked Mr. Boyd how the PC really adversely affecting. How to give me to express. I think it's really impacted going to be property, so everybody could hear its answer to how you thought it would impact it. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Before we actually vote. You have a motion and a second on the floor to deny. Is there any other discussion? All in favor of this motion, raise your hand.
Abstain.
That's 6.
Yeah.
6 and 1 abstention.
All right. Thanks for the discussion. Thank you, attorney. Item number 5.2.
5.2, approve decline of request to advertise for bids for replacement of membranes at the Moss Point reverse osmosis plant submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk. And I failed to mention earlier, council, that she is watching. She's present virtually tonight.
Motion to approve.
Second. There was a motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next, item 5.3, approve decline item Zeta drainage study project R-006-02-ZMP Request board approval of request for cash number 11 in the amount of $19,800 and authorize the mayor to execute same for the Development Authority submitted by Tricia Thick.
Second.
Alderman Bradford, second by Alderman Wilson. Any question? All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.4, approve and fund I-10 Commercial Portal Improvements Project in the EQ 23-00037. Request board approval of request for cash number 9, $265, and authorize the mayor to execute same for submission to the MDEQ submitted by Tricia Thickman, city clerk.
Second.
Alderman Chester, second by Alderman Leonard. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Next item, 5.5, approve final request to renew the agreement with Crowder Gulf for disaster debris removal services through August 5, 2027, submitted by Tricia Thickman, city clerk.
So move. Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What debris, what is this concerning? What disaster?
This is for, well, this is in case of a disaster.
Future
We
hurt.
have to already have them in place.
Yeah, but you know,
Mr., can I say something?
Yes, please.
Hey, guys, so we bid all three of these, contracts out for debris removal, debris monitoring, and consulting services, in 2025. In August 2026, they're due to expire. So we want to go on and renew them now, trying to get ahead of any kind of disaster that may come, that these things are already approved and still in place. That way, if something does happen, all we have to do is call them up. They're already going to be on standby. And if something happens, they're automatically ready to come in. The debris removal is the people who pick up the debris after somebody's house or something is knocked down or anything like that we need picked up. The debris monitoring, that company is the one that comes in and monitors the debris removal company's tickets that they submit for reimbursement through FEMA and MEMA, and making sure that documentation is done and that the removal company is removing things according to MDEQ, our city ordinance, and everything to make sure we're in compliance. And our consulting company is the company who comes in and they upload all the documents into the portal for FEMA and MEMA to approve any reimbursement we would ask for in the case if we had a disaster.
my concern is this. We have a disaster. We got debris everywhere, that's come with the disaster. What opportunity small businessmen, minority contractors have? They already awarded the job. We got guys, every time something happens right here, they want to know from us, well, for me, I don't know if they're approaching the yard, why they're not given the opportunity to do these jobs. They already been bidded out and all this. And I understand trying to get ahead of the process. We need to be more conscious about our local folks who run business here all the time. Like Mr. Bob, that we just supported him because he committed to us. We got minority contractors, young men trying to get on their feet, want to start businesses, and all the jobs been bidded out already. So that's what I'm concerned about. I mean, we know disasters are coming, but let's give them an opportunity to help clean up the community and make a profit, just like this company, who we already pre-arranging with. But I think it should be a bidding process to be fair to all contractors in that area. That's just I guess I'm on the right path. I don't know.
Mr. Bradford, we did bid this process out according to the law. So anybody who wanted to submit a proposal for any of these 3 jobs that were available could have submitted a proposal and been considered for these jobs. One thing we have found that locally, after a disaster, a lot of our local companies don't have a lot of the equipment and trucks and things like that to provide these services. These jobs are huge jobs, and a lot of our local companies don't have the capacity to fill these jobs when a disaster does hit.
Mr. Williams, raise your hand. You, raise your hand. Yeah, you. That man right there can move any tree, any debris that hurricane can bring. And he's a local man out here struggling every day. And he should have opportunity to bid on them jobs as the disaster hit. I understand you want to get out here, but he's here with us all. We talking about commitment. This man, I ain't never met a man more committed than Mark Point. This man go out and do free work to help folks get in their driveways and all this. And we're not going to give him an opportunity when something hit to take part in the process. And that's what I'm talking about now. You know, I might be off path, but all this prearranged stuff, it come to a halt.
So some of these, okay, this is my last comment. So when dealing with FEMA and MEMA, a lot of these contracts have to already be in place. We can't have the disaster and then bid out for it. They have to already be in place in case of a disaster hits. We can't bid it out after the fact.
So when have we had a hurricane? And when the last disaster? Why ain't we bidding now? Well, we should put the bidding process out now for it already be in place.
Because we've already bid it out. And we haven't had to use them. So that's why we're extending the contracts.
I have a comment to that.
Excuse me.
I got you.
Excuse me, this is not.
Okay, I'm in the discussion. What I'm just saying is I want to see, and we know we live on the Gulf Coast. We're going to have another disaster. I would pray and ask God for not to. That ain't realistic. And all I'm trying to say is I've sat here for years and watched local contractors make nothing, do nothing from these disasters. And then when these other folks leave out, they're picking up scrap and helping us for the little or nothing. We're going to support local businesses. Let's support everybody. That's all I'm saying. I don't care about the bidding process. We got to come up with a way that our local businessmen can make a living where they live. That's all I'm saying.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bradford. Did someone down the other come in?
But I was just gonna say, we did, like Tricia said, we bid all this out ahead of time. I think we had something like 10 companies that submitted proposals, went through all of them. I think this Crowder Gulf is in Mobile. The Ramsey family, I believe, owns it out of Grand Bay. Very well qualified, get all the equipment you need. So if a storm hits, they can come in right away, get to work. And sometimes these companies do come in and hire local folks. I know Tally has done some work in the past. For the last storm we had, they'll sub out some of the work to locally. So I thought it was good that we did get a company that was close by that could do that sort of thing. Is familiar with some of our people, but you gotta have people that's got the equipment and everything. Even you got a hurricane come in, you got all that debris and everything. You know, you can't just. That's not the time to go out and try to hire people. You got to have it all in place, like Tricia said. And I think about that. FEMA requires that anyway. So this is a good company.
Okay, just for the public. I just let me just reiterate what City Clerk said and also Alderman. I think the public would want us to be prepared for a disaster before it hit. An example is when all the debris, if you just think about the tornado that we just had in 23 and all the debris that happened, we had no idea that was going to happen. Sometime with a hurricane, you know 2 or 3 weeks in advance that it's coming, but that tornado hit, we did not know it was coming. But the next day, because we had this agreement in place, the trucks was here picking up trash. Now, I don't even think the public would really be happy with us if we got to wait 3 or 4 weeks to start picking up trash. And I don't know of any company locally in town that have the equipment to pick up all that debris from the tornado. It's just not here. So we as a city would hire those companies to do it. And then they find out they can't do the work because they don't have the equipment. Then we as a city is going to be responsible for that. Because the public is not going to allow us to wait 3 or 4 weeks to get this trash and debris picked up. Because we were trying to hire some local company. When we know up front, they don't have the equipment to do what needs to be done. It's unfortunate, but they just don't have it. So we can name anybody we want to about who does this work. They don't have the equipment locally to do that kind of work. And the law requires that we bid this out so we can be prepared when a disaster hits. To me, to take care of the public and clean the place up. Because it's a health issue, it's a mental health issue, it's a safety issue to have all this stuff laying around for a long period of time. That's why we have to do it. And we're also following the law.
Man, I don't prolong this, but the law requires, we won't talk about the law, that minority contractors have access to these jobs. That's what the law requires. We got a lot of laws. Laws all over. Got too many. That's what's wrong with the place now. Got too many laws. But what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about who got the big equipment and all that. When I was on a process one time, when you bid this contract out, it should be in that contract. There's so much a percentage of that work for the local and minority contractors.
Now, that's a different question. You did not say that originally, but and you're right, we don't need to prolong this.
Yeah, well.
But what do you do, Alderman? Alderman, what do you do when you put the bid out and you get no response?
You got to make sure you're putting it out in the right place.
Where's that?
In the public. I mean,
We did.
Next time it happens, just let me know, because I know all these guys will be bamming on my door about why we ain't getting none of the work. So just let me know if I can get them to you.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Thank you.
Next. Need a motion?
Let's have a motion a second. Do we have one, Judge? No.
Chris, I don't think we have a motion second, is it? Do we? Yes. All right, we do. Thank you. We have motion and second.
Have a motion a second for item, was that 5.5? 5.5?
Yeah.
Have a motion. Is that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, say.
Next, item 5.6, approve the final request to renew agreement with True North Emergency Management LLC for disaster debris monitoring and related services through August 5, 2027, submitted by Tricia Thigpen, City Clerk.
Motion to approve. Second.
There was a motion, a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, say.
Next item, 5.7, approve the final recommendation by the Jackson County Planning Department to adopt certain codes regulating construction and housing standards in Moss Point, Mississippi, submitted by Marcus Ketchot, Director of Jackson County Planning Department. And I do want to point out in your packet, you have that order, but there's a typo in there. It says unincorporated. It's highlighted in yellow. It should be the incorporated area of Moss Point. So that will need to be corrected for the same.
So move with the necessary correction.
And Luke, can you,
That question's
well, I mean, tell me a little bit about this, please.
Okay, so Jackson County has already adopted 2024 codes. As far what you're allowed to be 3 code cycles behind the current. So 2024 is the most recent code cycle. In 2027, it'll be another one. Right now, we're currently operating under the 2018 ICC family of codes. But as we move forward, that allows us to keep insurance rates pretty reasonable. Like I said, it's one of the necessary things we need to do from time to time. In your packets, you have some of the omissions of the codes. We're not the ones that write the codes, thankfully. They get kind of stringent with it. So there are some omissions. We provided the same omissions for the city of Moss Point that the county has adopted. I'd say just the most extreme example is there's a provision in the code, and I think it started back in 2015 for like residential sprinkler systems. Obviously, that's a bit stringent for most residential housing, but there's some other things in there that other building officials, other municipalities across the coast, we're all pretty much in line with what's being adopted, and pretty much everybody across the coast. There's a few municipalities that have already adopted the 2024 family codes, and I think pretty much all of them are expected to have the 2024 codes in place by the end of the year.
Now, does that, I guess, in construction, residents sometimes have the ability to do their own improvements up to $10,000. Is that being affected?
No, that's overseen by the Mississippi State Board of Contractors. That doesn't really come into play with the actual codes. This is more directed at the building. So who's allowed to pull permits, the value before you have to be a licensed contractor or go from a residential to commercial contractor, those things, that's all regulated by the Mississippi State Board of Contractors. So that won't be affected. I don't think that they've made any significant changes recently. So as far as who can pull what permits, all that's pretty much staying the same. This is just, and realistically, the changes are relatively minor. As far as most residential building, wood frame construction, you're not looking at really any changes structurally, because down here on the coast, most of this area is in 150-mile-an-hour wind zone. So our requirements, we have additional requirements from FEMA already that are a little bit above and beyond what the code normally would require.
So tell me, does everybody have to be state licensed contractors?
No, you can, as a homeowner, you can pull your own permit and build your own house. So no, but like I said, if you're not a licensed contractor, you can't build a house for somebody else.
It's also dependent on the amount.
Yeah, there's also a dollar amount even when it comes to different things. But again, that's Mississippi State Board of Contractors regulations, and they have a great website that has like I said, it's easy to navigate. If anybody has questions on that, they can check the website or they can call me. I'll help them out with it. Good deal.
Thank you.
Their motion and second.
Just to get, who made a motion and made a second?
Just Chapman. We don't have a second.
Second. The motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it.
Next, 5.8, approve, decline a recommendation to advertise the position of dispatcher for police department submitted by Dennis Stevenson, Chief of Police.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it.
Next item, 5.9, approve, decline a recommendation to hire Layla Haymore for the vacant position of full-time non-certified police officer submitted by Dennis Stevenson, Chief of Police.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it.
Next item, 5.10, approve, decline a recommendation to hire Joseph Gallagher for the vacant position of full-time non-certified police officer submitted by Dennis Stevenson, Chief of Police.
Approved. Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, Alderman Wilson, Alderman Chapman, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's have it.
Next item, 5.11, approve, decline a recommendation to hire Travis Watson for the vacant position of full-time certified police officer submitted by Dennis Stevenson, Chief of Police.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
512 was removed. 513,
513, approved decline change order number 1 for the Robinhood Sewer Replacement Project to increase contract days by 100 calendar days to compensate for delayed production and delivery of manholes, which was beyond contractor's control, submitted by Mayor Billy E. Knight.
So moved.
motion by Alderman Bradford, second by Alderman Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next, item 5.14, approved decline request to accept the lowest and best bid in the amount of $15,000 submitted by Dispute Design and Creative LLC for the fabrication of a 17-foot tall guitar sculpture, which will be located downtown along the riverfront, paid for using FY17 titling funds submitted by Mayor Billy E. Knight Sr.
So moved. Second.
Motion by
First.
Chastain, second by Alderman Leonard.
What is this?
Guitar sculpture.
It's a good time. I mean, explain that to me. Okay. The purpose of that is, what's the purpose of that?
It's the sculpture a part of the activities at Main Street and the museum will start doing going forward in the future of activities on the waterfront.
With Thailand's money?
We had to get that approved, of course.
Gonna be on the river, right? On the riverfront, like, right?
Gonna
be like on the riverfront, like, right? Like when we having those jamborees and it be decoration.
I don't see it, but I'll go ahead because just putting a good top in the downtown. I don't mean, with Thailand money, we got a lot of things we can do with Thailand money other than build a good top. I mean, that can't nobody play, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna stay.
Any other question? Got a motion by Alderman Chastain, second by Alderman Leonard. All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it.
Hey,
One sustain.
Next item 5.15, approved decline request to accept the lowest and best bid in the amount of $2,000 submitted by Dispute Design and Creative LLC for the equipment rental required to install a 17-foot tall guitar sculpture, which will be located downtown along the riverfront and paid for using FY17 titling funds submitted by Mayor Billy E. Knight Sr. The delivery and installation portion of the quote will be paid for by the Walter Anderson Museum of Art.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Alderman Chapman,
second.
second by Alderman
Bastard.
Petro. All in favor, say aye.
Abstain.
Abstain by Alderman Bradford.
Next item 5.16, approved decline amendment number 2 to consulting services agreement between the city of Moss Point and Delco Consulting Inc. to extend the current contracted termination date of August 6, 2026 to August 6, 2027, submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Wilson. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it.
And that concludes the main agenda. Next on the agenda is 5.16, discussion.
Alderman Bradford.
Yes, I just wanted to discuss I hope the mission of Alderman Dubose is in his district, it's in his ward, but concerns us all. Quite naturally, the tornado, somebody hit Sue Ellen Gym and we had to demolish it and tear it down. There's also a proposal going on, build a brand new complex on the west side of town. Not going into no detail with that because it's a discussion. But I just want to be on record. I want the public to know and the board to know that I'm absolutely against any sports complex being built before Sue Ellen Gym. That gym means a lot to that community, has brought a lot of generations through, great basketball players, and children. We have done a lot of things to Sue Ellen. And I don't think anything should come before Sue Ellen. I think Sue Ellen should be our priority. And the funds we solicit, it should be for Sue Ellen. And when we get Sue Ellen built, I'm open to building all the complex y'all want. But that community deserves to be restored as was. And I don't think we should be putting any more efforts toward anything else till we get Sue Ellen back up and running. That's my personal opinion, and that's why I want to be public. I want it to be publicly known that I'm just frustrated when I hear folks talking about other gyms and all this. We got one over there we can't rebuild. I want that gym built back in that community because it's a fabric in the community, and nothing should come before it. All our efforts as far as complex and gyms should be Sue Ellen gym. And that's my opinion.
Alderman Bradford, you talking about the west side having a company. That was approved 4 years ago. You wasn't even on board.
By rain.
Yeah. Good run, been in a bad state.
I concur with Sue Ellen Jim having some attention brought back to it.
I don't have a problem with Sue Ellen. I don't. Honestly, I don't. I agree with you 100%. But don't say west side. Being put on the back burner because of Sue Ellen. West side complex was decided 5 years ago. But I don't have no disagreement with Sue Ellen being rebuilt. Now, I'm not against that. But I'm saying don't talk negative, talk to West Side.
I'm not saying anything about the West Side. What I'm saying is I give you some wisdom. A house divided against itself would not stand. We can't get one complex up. How we gonna build two? I'm talking about priorities. After we get through building Sue Ellen, we can build one on the west side, far west side. I don't care. I'm talking about that particular community.
I'm not against that.
Losing its fabric and losing its places for our children that has to walk. Most of our children, the children I'm talking about have to walk there. Parents have to walk. I'm talking about a community center in the midst of that community where it was. You can build all the centers you want, but if we can't get enough money to build one, why are we trying to build two? Let's build one, and then
I'm not against that.
Okay, I'm just that's where I'm at.
Mayor, can I say something real quick? I just want to kind of give some backdrop of why we're here in this discussion. You know, when we were hit by the tornado, we were presented with an opportunity to develop a long-term recovery plan for the city of Moss Point. Because we had storm-related damage, we had unmet needs. There was an effect on low to moderate citizens, and it was to address slum and blight. And we were given a unique opportunity with the appropriate stakeholders to secure funding, along with other disaster-affected areas in the state of Mississippi at that time, to include Sharkey County and some of the others. And Moss Point was included in that. We don't want to pass up this opportunity to bring something positive to our city that addresses things that we lost, i.e. a storm shelter and a daycare. The daycare being Mary's Little Lambs, which was a pillar in this community. The building of this Sportsplex allows us to restore some of that in that capacity. And it gives us an advantage transitionally with making us the hub for basketball in our area. As Alderman Chesting alluded to, that this plan was put into place several years ago. And paralleled with plans to improve Sue Ellen Gym. Due to unexpected circumstances that happened over the last 4 to 5 months, it would not be wise on us to shelve the plan we started 3 or 4 years ago to focus solely on Sue Ellen. I would like to see us be able to continue forward in the vein that we're in because we have so much momentum not only on the local level, but on the state and national level. Which once you turn that down, it will be a while, it will be another generation before you have that opportunity again. And that's my position on it. I want to be in support of this Sportsplex to push us, because I'm not thinking about just today, I'm thinking about long term, tomorrow, what our city is going to look like.
Yeah, the next question. I'm really, I do. Comments. Yes, I do. Mayor, I fully endorse Chastain's comment and Alderman Wilson's comment, especially Alderman Wilson. Both were in attendance when the people from MDA came down. I guess it was last week, and we heard from them, and we had good discussion. We had members of the recreation committee here. It's true that both of these projects were initiated several years ago. There's a specific funding source for the sports complex, and it needs to move forward. We need to get the application finished. They're inviting us to submit for this money. And it's also true that we already have plans for the whole Sue Park. And those plans have not changed. We had a setback, as Alderman Wilson said, because of the additional damage that was found in the gym. We definitely want to replace that. But it's not fair to anybody. It would just be terribly unwise to shut down a great opportunity for one sports complex because we selfishly just only want to do one. It's not West Side versus East Side, it's everybody. My church does summer camps, programs at Sue Ellen, if they used to, and they were disappointed they weren't able to do it this year. And they want to pick up and do that again. There's been lots of good activities there. We definitely want that. It's not just a Level 3 facility, it's a city facility. It's not just an East Side facility, it's a city facility. The same thing would be true about the other sports complex that we want to continue with. We want to continue on a parallel track with different funding sources. In this community, we also were told from the people from NDA there are other funding sources that we can reach out to them and that will help us secure that would be more specifically targeted to the Sue Ellen project. They have these programs. We don't need to stop one to do the other or stop this one to do that one. We need to pursue a parallel track, aggressively pursue both of them so we can move everything forward. That's good for everybody. Why we have this division and us versus them and don't do anything before we do this? We need to do it all. We want to do it all. I saw plans for the whole Sue Ellen Park, new ball fields and everything up there. It's a great plan. We really do need to do it. We just had a minor setback for plans that were already in place. Now we got to figure out how to put a new building there instead of putting a Band-Aid on the rest of the old building. And I want to do all of it. I fully support fixing Sue Ellen. I want it to be new again. Thank you. Yeah. Say this. NBA, whether or not, the Mississippi Department of Authority, it is. You used to have, you know what I'm talking about. You don't understand. You don't know that. I got the flow. Yeah, a bunch more nonsense. But you don't understand. That's not so division. That's all you want to do. Call it division. I call it representing those who can't stand it. I call it representing the people who sent me here. You need to tell them the truth, which I'm telling them the truth. I'm telling them the truth. And if this is us, then it's the truth. If you haven't got hit by there, you say, I didn't expect the plan. But what I'm saying is, funding's gonna come in. You got 30th Street Park, looking like a disaster in that same community. All the facilities on that side of town, you can call it division, you can call it what you want. Somebody got to speak up for those who's not aware of the situation, who's not educated about the situation. That's what some of us are down here publishing. I'm glad, I hope you get everything you want. There you go. Don't let me know I'm going down fighting for those who have not. And that's my job, and that's my problem. And I ain't banging down, not one pick up an inch. Sue Ellen in this community needs to be restored just as well. It should be a priority over any other because that was the active community center. This is the pipe being yelled at. And if somebody comes down here from, and another thing, before I hang up, I was in Detroit last week.
Everybody knew I was scared to be there. Let me tell you something. Setting these meetings in the middle of the daytime when all the aldermen was unavailable, that's unethical. That ain't right. We haven't heard that before. It might be a little. But if you'd have gave us the opportunity to attend the meeting, we might be more lenient to understand what you're saying. But all these meetings in the middle of the daytime, while the folks are out of town and all this here, only certain ones getting invited, man, look at here, don't play me. Don't play me. Don't play me. I'm trying to be nice. I want you to know July 1st was 1 year since I've been back on this board. I have been over backwards to cooperate with you guys. But don't take me. Don't try to take me. Okay.
That's a discussion, the last item on the agenda is an executive session. We need a motion to close session, turn the need for executive session.
So moved. Second. First one, this is second one, second. Also to determine if we have an item, what the item is for executive session. No item for this.
Closed session.
Yes.
The reason is a specific, police department personnel issue.
It is an item that qualifies for the executive session.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to move forward to executive session? To close general session. This is executive session. Moves and properly second of the board to executive session. Thank you all for coming.